Tangerine, 2015 film directed by Sean Baker, who's mostly known for Florida Project. This was his previous movie, and while being wildly different in terms of the story and its nature, it does bear some similarities as well. The film is 24 hours, or even slightly less, in the lives of several people inhabiting Los Angeles, specifically around the intersection of Santa Monica Boulevard and Highland Avenue, which is apparently an area especially notorious for prostitution and drugs. The main protagonist of the story is Cindy, a black trans prostitute who comes out of prison after 1 month and is determined to track down her pimp boyfriend Chester and confront him about the fact that he has apparently been cheating on her in the meantime with one of his lady whores. Meanwhile, her best friend Alexandra, also a black trans prostitute, is advertising her show, which is coming that very night. She's supposed to be singing at a club and she wants all her friends to come and see her. There's also an Armenian taxi driver called Razmik, who habitually hires both ladies for their services, and upon learning that Cindy is finally out of prison, is very determined to meet up with her that very night. So for a whole day, all these characters basically hang around the neighborhood, run around it, get up to various hijinks until the evening finally brings all of them back together in an explosive clash of insanity. So it's definitely a film with some of the trashiest, weirdest characters ever. I mean, the nature of their profession and personal relationships is one thing, but they all do pretty much live on the poverty line, which is an aspect that reminded me of Florida Project. But weirdly enough, watching their adventures is quite enjoyable because despite the fact that they're so stupid, mostly, brash, they behave like assholes, they make all the wrong decisions, they're still very human at the core. It helps that the movie is very funny, and the humor certainly makes watching all these hijinks quite endearing and amusing. I had a thought whilst I was watching it that those are definitely not people with whom I would like to spend time in person, and that there were many things wrong with them. But at the same time, I was able to watch the film without really passing judgment, without caring about all the stuff that's wrong with them. And aside from the humor, as I said, there is a certain humanity at the core of all of them, and as the beautiful, poignant, and bittersweet ending really drives it home, they're kind of lonely people who are just looking for human connection, mostly. Technically speaking, the movie is also fairly interesting because it was shot on iPhones with like an $8 app or something to edit the footage. So in terms of the technicalities, the movie was very cheap to make. And the result is that it gives it a very unique look. It's almost as if we were watching a YouTube video that a passerby was recording of real people. It's very effective at building up this illusion that this is all happening for real. Sean Baker also opted for a very orange hue that permeates almost every frame, at least until the evening, which is meant to really drench us in the atmosphere of the sunny Los Angeles afternoon. And it's also related to the movie's title, Tangerine, which comes from the color of the sky at that time of day. Overall, I found it to be a very good film, surprisingly. It manages to do what a lot of art strives to do, I think, strives to achieve, which is to transport the viewer into a world that they would otherwise not be able to explore so easily. And Tangerine does that in a way that is equally believable and entertaining. Solid stuff.